Welcome everyone to the stream. I'm the Wombat of Doom. Hope everyone's good out there. Welcome to session 4 of the campaign. So far, to summarize what's been going on, the group came to a town called Jewel and looked for some jobs to do. They found a job to rescue the mines from a goblin incursion. And they're currently there in the midst of it. They've come across several goblins, the latest of which just, snuck attack our friend Roger.
Brutally ambushed.
Brutally ambushed. They both criticaled him. And we left it there with Roger recovering and the group deciding what to do next. So welcome, guys. Welcome to session 4. One thing I will note is we are missing our ranger Yarvik. I will be NPCing him today in addition to the DMPC. But he'll be back next week, or I guess next week as we go.
The next week to the next week.
Right. So as you guys can see, you are still in the mines, the first level. You've explored 2 of the 3 rooms in this hall, as well as the northern passage and a little bit of the southern passage. So I leave it up to you what you want to do next.
Being full health and full of confidence, Zippo will open this other door.
Okay. Right off the bat, huh?
Might as well.
Never find anything.
Yeah, let me open that door for you, Zippo. There you go.
Barrels, woo!
Yep, there are 6 barrels in this room.
What is in the barrels?
So the barrels are actually the lids are on them.
Are the lids sealed? Or is that something that we could pop open and take a look at?
They've been loosely hammered in. It looks like they've been opened before, though. You can see markings of them being pried open multiple times.
Okay. So I guess we can try to pry them open.
Yeah, I'll let Zippo do that.
Yeah. I don't really have any tools to pry it open, so I'm just gonna shape water myself a crowbar and pry them open. I gotta use this spell somehow, okay? It's just sitting there.
That's a cantrip, right?
Yep.
So you're shape watering. Explain exactly what you're doing to make this crowbar.
So I'm gonna shape water. It says it takes the shape of whatever I want. So I'm just gonna have it point out a straight stick with a curved end and a slightly curved end that's just sharp enough to me to slip in between the barrels, and then I'm gonna just command it to pop it open.
As liquid water?
I mean, oh yeah, you're right. I have to freeze it. There you go. So I can shape it into the shape of the crowbar, freeze it in that shape. Then I just.
That's why I wanted to clarify, because using
gotcha.
liquid on a solid.
I pass science. Yeah. Look, science finds a way.
Zippo's only 6 years old.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
All right. All right. So give me let's do an attack on it. And I know you're not attacking it to break it, but what I'm having you do is attack it to force it. And if you, I'm looking for a middle number. If you go too high, the crowbar breaks. If you go too low, it doesn't pop open.
Okay, so do I do strength for that?
Yes.
Okay.
With your proficiency. Which it does automatically. All right. You are within, you're just at the top of what I've been looking for. So you pop it open. Which, you're starting with that first right one?
Yeah, might as well.
All right. So You open this, and it's another white powder, similar to the powder of the left barrel in the first storeroom. However, this one does not smell foul. In fact, this is a sweet-smelling powder.
I'm gonna go up in there and taste a little bit of the powder.
That's what I was about to do. When in doubt, lick it out, man.
No fear.
Constitution.
So it has a peculiar cooling taste to it.
Interesting.
But it doesn't seem to bother your insides at all. At least for now.
Is this
Hence the no roll.
Is it still sweet when we taste it?
No.
Interesting.
Moving on to the next barrel.
So we found some breath mints. Does my breath smell better?
You're gonna have to ask another party member to make a perception for that.
Hey Zippo.
Yeah, I got you. We'll just do it at the same time.
Are you smelling his breath, Zippo?
Yep.
All right, so he bends down halfway so that you can lift your nose up to smell. Not that you needed it being a kobold, but whatever. He doesn't really know how kobolds' noses work. You don't. Most people don't because, you know, they're lizards, right? So do they even smell the same way? Anyway, his breath smells like the food he ate earlier today at the tavern.
It doesn't change your breath, man.
I believe you had beet juice and porridge, correct?
Yep. So not a breath mint. All right. Good to know.
So give me another roll for the next.
Oh, 7.
The ice kind of slips out of the barrel.
That one's harder. You know, as we're doing this, I'm gonna look to Roger and be like, hey, you might be better at opening these barrels considering I'm the height of them.
Bold of you to assume.
I only have a +2 to strength. You have to have higher strength than I do.
Do I? I have a +1 to strength.
Oh! Never mind, then. Alright. Considering it slipped out of that one, I'm going to test my luck and go to the one across from us.
You're actually stronger than me.
That's great.
Roger, you're also... are you in the room with him right now?
I had to go in there for him to smell my breath.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where you are.
Oh, yeah. I can walk back out to the room for a second there.
I actually accidentally grabbed the barrel. There we go. All right. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, it's pretty cluttered in there.
We'll just move on to the next barrel. Come back to that one later.
Meanwhile, I see that Ulrich is looking around at the crevice to the right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he would see this and he'd decide that while he maybe doesn't feel that we need to be snooping, he's not going be a wet blanket about it.
I'll just describe the area a little bit. So the area to the east opens up into a wide cavern with a somewhat large crevice that seems to have cracked and divided the middle of this area. You hear the sound of rushing water below and see across the way, for those of you who have dark vision, Actually, I'm gonna see what Ulrich has.
Just-
You see across the way, just across the way, you see some tracks that and a broken bridge that used to probably carry minecarts across. I believe you also see a little bit further out and see that the tracks seem to end suddenly.
Yes, I go
Yep.
far.
Belzian, you see a bit farther, and you see that there's tracks further to the south, as well as a waterfall on the other side of the crevasse that seems to be feeding the channel down below.
Is the waterfall majestic?
It is quite sparkling, yes. It catches the light of the torches, and once Belzian points out the area that it is, you can kind of see some sparkles as it catches the light of running water, but the rest of you who cannot see in darkness really can't see much more than that.
Elzian says, "Trust me, fellows, it is majestic."
Majestic indeed.
Zippo, are you trying a third barrel?
I'm gonna try every barrel in this room.
Okay. So, I'm gonna say that through your clamberings, you break several crowbars of ice. You manage to pry open all 6 eventually, while they're checking out the crevasses. So what you uncover is 4 barrels in total that have that white powder to it, that has that sweet smell. 1 barrel of yellow powder that almost has a rotten smell to it, like trash or maybe eggs, something like that. And then a barrel of black and odorless. This one you recognize as charcoal.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a handful of the white powder, a handful of the yellow powder, and a handful of the black powder,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna run to the other room real fast, get a handful of both of those powders. I'm gonna mix
Okay.
it all on the floor. I'm gonna mix it all on the floor right here next to this door. Okay.
I'm going to stand very far away from that.
Probably a good choice. And then I'm going to, once I do that, I'm going to run back to here. I feel like that's a good safe distance.
Okay. Where did you go?
And I'm right next to the elevator.
Okay.
And
And
then
where's the powder? You can mark it on the map.
right there, if you can see that thing.
Oh,
Right in
okay,
front of the
right
door.
in front of the door. Got it.
Yep. And then I'm going to create bonfire on the powder.
Um. Okay. There's a fizzling sensation, like a psst, as it kind of ignites and kind of fizzes, and then makes a like an awful smell, a vitriol smell, and starts running like a pool of slow molassesy water onto the floor in a puddle.
Not the desired effect, but acceptable. The desired effect was it creates a man out of nowhere. He opens the door for some random reason, and I get to walk in. But my dreams are too far beyond me right now.
I think if you're trying to make gunpowder, we probably will need a recipe.
No, I didn't want to make gunpowder. I legitimately didn't really expect anything. I just wanted to hope and dream. And
Just
I
wanted
want
to
to
light
go.
stuff on fire.
Yeah, honestly,
Burn-
my goal is before the 5th episode, I want to use every spell on my spell list at least once.
I I've gotta. I mean, I know I wasn't there, but I gotta just ask. Did you say that it creates molassesy water?
It's a liquid. It
Yeah.
melts into a liquid. Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing in and of itself because it was fire and it melted into a liquidy substance.
Yeah. So he put fire on it.
Yeah.
And it basically, instead of igniting, I'm guessing he thought it might create gunpowder.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like it was salty.
No,
to be honest.
I'm more of was hoping for like a kind of like a small chemical reaction of some sort, some kind of like flashy one, close to gunpowder, but more awful smelling, I guess.
Okay.
Sulfur doesn't explode.
So yeah, grabbing all of the powders that are in the vicinity and mixing them together evenly doesn't seem to be the solution you're looking for.
I'm gonna go up to the molassesy like water. Does it take like on the same smell as it did when it was burning, or is it kind of like mellowed
It
out?
smells awful.
I'm going to shape water it into a small hammer and freeze it into there, and then I'm gonna run up to the rest of the party with it. And I'm just gonna go around and just give them each a tap with it.
Okay. It doesn't freeze.
Oh.
It's probably
So it's just a water hammer.
So you scoop it up with the water and it mixes, and then you try and freeze it and it doesn't. So you don't get as far enough as to tap people with it. It just doesn't mix with the water.
It's probably oil, Zippo.
I just drop it back down then. And then I guess I'll look at this cave with the rest of the people.
I dare say, what is that smell? Smells pretty bad.
An experiment gone wrong.
Yeah, that's what I say about every meal that I don't like to. Now, what I'm thinking here is it'd be pretty foolish of us to run and jump across this gap. But I gotta imagine that if we continue back up north, it's gonna swing around to this point. And that is where the goblins were heading, it looks very.
Be right back.
So we can go back there and see if we can meet back up here, if that's any worth.
It looks to me, and Roger's gonna walk up over. It doesn't look like this joins up anywhere, from what I can see over on this side. In fact, it looks like it might be caved in on the other side here, or destroyed. I don't think.
Looking down, you see that the water continues below the rock wall, but it's not like there's no clearance. It's like the water goes into a cave on this side down about here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think we're trying to loop around here. Why don't we explore some of the southern passages?
I'll be up to that.
It sounds like a sound plan. Keep watch for goblins.
Healthy, uninjured people go first.
I feel like that was specifically pointed at Zippo.
Zippo, so you mixed the 5 powders, right? The red, the white, the black, and the yellow. Okay.
Yep. I mixed all 5 of them together.
Well, there is a 6th one that you didn't try, and a 7th if you include the water to the south.
So,
But
I'm just pointing that out.
Upon realizing, Zippo will grab the other ones if he has the option and try it again.
while Zippo's doing that, I think Ulrich would see Roger and say, "Hey, you look a little worse for wear. You need a little pick me up."
Yes. That would be ideal.
All right. He puts his hand on his shoulder and gives him 6 HP.
All right. Up to
So-
17.
If I mix it with the water, will the water still be able to at least be combustible a little bit?
Might need to make it dry first.
How do I make water dry?
That's not usually how water works. It is
I
possible
guess you'll have to find out.
to make water explode, but it's hard.
So I'll point
will-
out that the things in the room in the meeting room. One is iron bits, like iron scrap. So it's like rock mixed with bits of iron, and then the other one is 2 barrels of water.
Did you say that there was like a red powder? What kind of
Yeah.
red are we talking? Like a deep sort of crimson, or more like a rust color?
More like a rust or a copper, and it has a
Oh.
metallic smell to it.
Zippo, try mixing the metallic shavings with that rust powder.
Okay. Zippo mix them together,
Light those on fire.
and put them safe distance away, and then create bonfire on them.
The metal is tinged red afterward, but that's about it.
Must not be the right kind of metal.
So maybe mix them all except the water, and I'll put a little bit of the metal. Not a lot, just a little bit, like a little itty bitty sprinkle. And I'll use the red metal we just made in there too, and put it in front of the door again, and then create bonfire. But I'll use a little bit more of the yellow this time, like maybe another handful extra of the yellow. The bad smelling one.
Make a sleight of hand check for me, please.
$22.
All right. So you carefully place the loose measurements of
Handfuls.
what I've been calling, I guess, dusts. We'll call them dusts, powders.
Reagents.
Yeah. Together, and it doesn't. So you, to clarify, you're mixing which ones again?
All of them, except the
Mhm.
water, plus the red iron, like the red tinged iron we made, with
Mhm.
extra yellow.
Okay. Yeah, it has a similar effect, except now it has some metallic bits strewn in. I will note that the red is gone from the iron bits now. Also, this smell is a little bit more vitrolic. It's more like cat urine now. Yeah.
Hooray, we made ammonia.
Yeah. What? Goblins can't live down here if nobody can breathe.
Zippo, we have to breathe.
Oh, yeah. I think that's enough of Zippo's science experiments. He's just going to come party back up.
Why don't we do these science experiments in the outdoors, where if there's a huge problem, it not only doesn't bring the cave down on top of us, but we can escape to where there is breathable air.
Yeah, Zippo's tired. We'll come back after our long rest and put all these barrels in my ring so I can have them forever.
All right.
Sounds-
So, what was that, Roger?
I say that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
I just want to point out, Zippo was a child, and none of the adults in this party stopped him from playing with dangerous chemicals and fire.
He looked like he knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not-
I mean, he's an adult in his culture.
That's true.
Who are we?
Who
to
are
judge?
we to judge?
I was hoping teammates that care about me, but I'm second guessing that one.
When you judge somebody else, it does not define who they are. It defines who you are. Let us continue on in this cave.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to know what all that dust is, I'm pretty sure it's just shaved red herring.
I like it.
And with that, he continues down.
I'm going to give you an inspiration for that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I have one already. Can I pass it on?
Of course.
Who do I mean, Zippo should get it since he set the joke up.
Works for me.
Thank you very much.
I also noticed our images were frozen, so I fixed that up for everybody. Anyway, so I see that we've got some party members exploring to the south. So I will follow suit with some of our other characters. So you follow the passage to the south east, the easternmost path, which comes to an area where you go through a reinforced area that has wooden beams. That's where Jordan is right now. These a wooden beam kind of enveloping the passage, holding it together, which you saw in other areas, but this is more like narrow and holding it up. But right immediately after that, you see that the passage has begun collapsing some, or at least there's some rubble here and there. You see evidence of maybe a recent battle in here, but there is no bodies, no goblin nor humanoid.
They were all eaten.
And the track ends in another cliff. Looks like the crevice has extended down here. You can see that there also used to be a bridge here that took the track across, which has also been collapsed. This area is a 10-foot gap as opposed to the 5-ish feet gap that the other bridge had.
Well, not much down this path. Let's check one of the others.
Yeah, you know, I gotta just say, I'm wondering if the Mithril brothers, this can't have all been destruction by the goblins. Are they just not keeping this place up to code, you think?
And as you say that, Belzian rounds the corner and gets attacked by a goblin right here.
He says in Goblin, "Oh."
He cries out, "Die!" and makes an attack against you.
Didn't see that coming.
We better teach these goblins about not announcing their presence.
And about chemicals.
No, we need them to teach us about chemicals so that we can blow that door up.
To be fair, I am holding 2 barrels of gunpowder in my ring. Just long rest it and we'll blow it up.
Alright, so he's shooting at you with his arrow.
Oh yeah.
22 hits, correct?
That would hit, yeah.
Okay. I have Roll20 on a different computer now, so forgive me for not being as open with my rolls. He does 8 points of damage to you.
Oh. All right.
and then disappears around the next bend.
Are we? We're gonna chase after it, I suppose.
Okay, roll initiative.
This seems like a trap.
It sure does, but I can't imagine, just not, just like letting him get behind us or something like that. Like, let's go the other path.
Yep. Where do I put my notebook? Just use this one for today. Fortunately, I have a plethora of notebooks.
Apparently, it rolled mine twice, but I got the same result both times.
Heck yeah.
Well,
That's
hey.
interesting. It was meant to be.
I accept my astoundingly average roll.
All right, so as I'm bringing up the characters, because I'm going to have to roll for both Jordan and Yarvik. Gonna open him up in a new tab. Open him up in a new tab. All right. So Jordan gets a 16. And Yarvik gets a 18. Anybody between a 16 or an 18?
Belzian was 16.
Okay, Belzian, what's your dex? Is it a plus
6
3?
or 19?
A 19?
Yep.
So that's
Yeah,
plus
it's plus
5,
4.
isn't it?
That's plus 4.
Plus 4, right. So you're going to be going first, Belzian. Then we've got Yarvik at 18. Anybody above an 18? Okay. Below 16.
I have a 14.
Anybody beat a 14? So Roger, Zippo, and I guess Ulrich got a 4, I see.
That's right.
Is that a 1?
There's a 1.
You're fortunate I'm not a different DM. I've had DMs that if you roll a 1 on initiative, you lose your first turn, which I've never agreed with.
Going last is punishment enough.
Right, yeah. And then, of course, the goblins. Okay.
I love the math of that. 5% of the time, you are the most incompetent person who's ever existed.
That's a mood.
I mean, sometimes I feel that stupid.
5%'s really high, though. Like, I'm just saying.
All right,
It still feels
Yarvik's
pretty
going
low.
first.
I'll take those odds.
Yarvik is unsure exactly what to do at this moment. He didn't even really see the goblins, so he's going to come around the corner and be ready to shoot if anything comes into view. He'll move. Let's see, he was here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's about all he can do. I'll have him here just so he can see a little bit better into the passage. Next is Belzian.
Belzian turns back and says, pardon me, there appear to be more goblins. As he advances slowly, looking for that goblin that was there. Which way did he go? Did I see which way he went?
He went down this way.
Let's see if we can get a better view. I think that's all I can really do on my turn is just take a gander. I don't see anything, though. So I will end my turn. But Belzian does point with one of those over there type motions.
Okay. Next is going to be Jordan. Jordan can do nothing but catch up this round, so that's what he does. Roger.
So I've got. There's no square for me to stand in where I can see down both paths any reasonable distance, unfortunately.
So the thing about caves, they twist.
Yeah. So what I suspect happened is the goblin ran up this path, but isn't in my line of sight. So I'm actually going to stand here and ready in action to fire at the next goblin I see with my arrow.
Okay. Zippo.
I'm just gonna follow suit and let's see here. 10, 30. There we go. I'm gonna come down here next to Belzian and just ready. I'll just take the dodge action in case they get shot at. Set here, ready to dodge if I see something.
Okay, so you're down here. Okay. All right. Ulrich.
Yep, Ulrich is going to. He's holding that torch.
Yep.
He has mace spell. Shield still on back. 1, 2, 3. And he is going to do. Can I do?
He's going to what?
Sorry, I forgot I had already utilized this, so I can't even do it.
Gotcha.
He's going to do nothing other than take the readied action. If anything comes at him, he will, or comes at the group, he will swing at it. So that's him.
Okay. Looks like we lost the extra Discord. Just as a heads up.
New placeholder.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Back to the top of the round. Belzian, you hear from the other chamber the echoed whispers of, "Well, do you see him? Do you see him?" Like urgent whispers. It sounds like one goblin communicating to another one.
I whisper that to the people closest to me.
What are you saying?
It sounds like there's at least 2 of them waiting for us.
All right. Yarvik is going to step up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Yarvik, from where he's standing, can't see anything as well. And takes a readied action to shoot any goblin he sees. Belzian.
Belzian's gonna sneak around closer. If they're close enough that I can hear them whisper, I'll kind of hide around this little. I'm guessing that's a wall right here. If I peek
As
around,
you move up, you hear an arrow being released.
Oh,
And then the arrow goes whizzing by you.
Twain.
yes, and
It seems like something saw you.
from where Belzian is standing, he can see
You can
one
make out
goblin.
something. Yeah.
Well, what appears to be like an arm or something, just
Yeah.
disembodied in the darkness there. And Belzian put his back against the wall and kind of make one of those like signals, like there's one over there, like we're some kind of secret agent crew. To old Rick and Zippo.
Give me a motion. What's the motion you give? Like, without saying anything to anyone, what's the motion you give?
It would look like this,
Yeah.
pointing around the corner.
And you're doing that to Ulrich, I guess?
Ulrich and Zippo, because I think they're the. I don't know if Jordan
Okay.
can see it. He's a bit far away.
I mean, if you guys understand what that means, I'll give it to you.
I mean, I guess my question is, didn't a bolt just go zipping by? So
Yeah.
we have
Yeah, did
Yeah.
nobody see that? Yeah, it was mostly pointing out the obvious.
Okay, all right.
not to say it's not helpful, but I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Interpret that how you will. But Belzian is just gonna take dodge action and just chill here.
All right. Jordan is going to inspire Bardic Inspiration Ulrich. You get a motive inspiration that hovers around you. It almost looks like a musical note in like magical form, just floating around.
This will help you on your spot checks. It's a C sharp.
I love
There
it.
you go.
And he'll move up. But he's not going to move up too far because he doesn't want to let Roger too far out of his area. He's already out of line of sight, so Roger can see him, but he can't see Roger because he's a poor old human.
Yep.
Roger?
No goblins have come around to flank us yet, which is
Correct.
good news. Do I want to try and go around to flank them?
To flank or not to flank? That is the rogue's question.
They probably won't expect me to break off from the group and walk around this way.
Your call.
On the other hand, I don't know if I can actually get close enough to see anything new. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can maybe get close enough to see something new. I move to like here.
You have 30 or 35?
35. Wood elves are speedy.
Yeah, you could get to here. Heck, you could get to here.
YOLO, we'll do it. I'm gonna move up to here, and I believe I see a goblin now.
You do see.
Who probably did not expect me to walk this way, and may or may not notice me? Question mark. Guess I can use my rogue bonus action to hide and try and escape notice.
Okay, go ahead and try that.
Stealth.
It's also
Holy-
worth noting he's facing this way.
Nice. I rolled a 20.
All right, let's see. Okay. He seems oblivious to your actions.
Right.
Entirely focused on the task at hand in front of him. So that's a double move for you. You moved and you hid.
The hiding is
a bonus, right?
Bonus for rogues. Yep.
Okay, right.
So I still have my normal action left here. So I could shoot him. And I probably ought to. I just don't want him to turn around and attack.
Fair.
Their hand. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this guy. I think that's the reasonable thing. Since he doesn't know I'm there, I have advantage. Is that right?
Correct.
So we'll roll once and then twice for advantage. So
All right.
hit a 25
That's a hit.
and damage plus sneak attack.
So it actually rolled the sneak attack as part of it.
Oh, excellent.
12 piercing and then 8 sneak attack.
Total of 20 damage.
Yeah, you rolled a 7 on that 1d8. That's pretty good. So 20 damage. You shoot him square in the back. The arrow pierces through his heart and out the other side, and he collapses on the ground in front of you. He was the one saying, "You see anything yet?" But in Goblin, he's, and then Belzian, you hear his voice fall silent.
It's all Greek to me.
Zippo.
I'm going to move, so probably about here, so I can see that goblin, I guess.
Yes, you can. Actually, could you make a spot check for me? I know you can see him on the map.
What would I need to roll?
Perception. Sorry.
I'd be
Back in the
17 because
day,
it gives me
it's just
disadvantage
spot.
even though we're in a cave.
Yeah, you don't have disadvantage. So 17. You do see him. Yep.
Good. Then I'm going to move to here after seeing him,
Okay.
and then I'm going to try to witch bolt him.
Witch Bolt.
Yes.
Could you click on Witch Bolt just so it pops up in chat so I can see it? And go ahead and make your attack.
Which bolt would that be?
20 to hit.
And that's a ranged attack?
Yeah.
That's a definite hit, yes.
14 damage.
Okay.
12 lightning and 2 fire.
From the genie's wrath, yeah, okay. So a beam of crackling energy bursts from Zippo's. Which would you fire from your hands or your mouth?
I'd say mouth for dramatic effect.
Okay, so a beam of brilliant crackling energy bursts from Zippo's mouth, almost like he's roaring, except instead of a dragon's roar, it's like it's a little bit oxymoronic as you see this little kobold almost take on a draconic-like state as he blasts this goblin who takes on a scorched look and then keels over as the electric seems to have either knocked him unconscious or rendered him dead. Either way, there's a look of shock on his face. Ulrich?
Yeah, so Ulrich is unable to have seen that really, but he will, saw some of it, so he'll go that way.
So I will note that this guy is like that, and this guy is like that. Yeah, they're. So
Yeah, I mean, he's here.
yeah, he's in, and the room is clear. You can drop initiative.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna drop initiative until you're aware that there's nothing left. In
Cool,
other
cool,
words.
Well, damn it. Gotta take one of these bastards alive at some point. Gonna have to talk to him.
It's pretty close with Zippo, with that last one. He got him, like, exactly.
As we look at them, are they wearing the, and some of the others had that special tabard on?
So these guys seem to have sewn on an eye onto clothing that they've either found or had on for a long period of time. Either way, it's in disrepair. One of them, instead of a hat, is wearing what looks to be like a boot of some traveler, perhaps the person who was wearing the boot earlier, but instead you found a bare foot in the rubble.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Boot.
Do they have anything else on their person?
Searching them, the one with the crossbow actually didn't even have a sword. He just had a crossbow and 6 bolts.
I'll take that.
The crossbow seems to be about as big as him. He was rolling it at disadvantage.
Is it heavy or light in that case? I imagine
It's
heavy.
light. It's light, but it's medium size, not small.
Sure. 6 bolts.
Yes. The other one that Roger took out unceremoniously has a small buckler and a small scimitar.
I'm an assassin. We don't really do ceremony.
I mean, the only ceremony you might do is if your prey was somebody named Sarah and they were Moni when they died.
I don't know why, but I just had a sudden. Oh, my psyche is hurting.
Jordan and Belzian kind of sidle into the area. Jordan says, I see this is where the other passage ends. And as he looks around the room and you look around the room, you see that these seem to be areas that were part of the mining facility where they were newly mining the area. You see veins of iron and gold and a reddish, maybe copper metal.
Ooh, cool.
In this area and then the earlier areas. So this area is kind of a mixture of gold and iron, and then the copper was in the other vein to the east.
There seem to be a lot of ore veins here. These must be very, very wealthy mine owners.
Well, perhaps at one time.
So wealthy, but they couldn't watch one dog.
Perhaps they gained their wealth by not watching dogs for just anybody.
Sounds like an awful way to gain wealth. Pleasureless life.
Well, shall we continue down this other path?
You can try.
Yes.
Say, looking over here, there doesn't appear to be much else. The
Yeah, it looks like
minecart rails just end.
The minecart rail ends, and you see that there's partially mined out veins of copper.
Okay. Well, we've explored basically everything we can reach from over here, and I didn't see much on the other side of the crevice there that wasn't caved in. Shall we go down to the second floor of the mine?
Where
Wait,
we
no,
get to use
hold
the
up.
elevator?
There's
Did we ever search the west path?
yeah, and back up north when we first met the goblins, there was a path down there we didn't follow, unless maybe I'm forgetting. Is that the one you're saying had been caved in?
I believe that one wasn't a full path. I think that just stopped. But we can go back up and check.
Yeah.
We, as in I'm not going up there by myself.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, so you're traveling back up to the northern passage.
Yeah. I don't remember there being a path out of here. I remember this kind of just ending.
Oh, yep, sure does just end. Okay.
So, as you're inspecting that area, you see right about here that while there might have been a passage at one time, there is a slight area where the passage is collapsed, and even if it was there, it was pretty low to the ground, about Zippo's height, so a small passage.
So it's like a goblin hole.
All right.
So that might be where the two goblins escaped down.
And then closed it back behind themselves.
Now that you mention it, I believe, Shade, I did mention that you heard the sound of some stone crumbling to the northeast as the goblins fled.
Yeah, there definitely was a sound at one point.
All right, so I see that Ulrich is traveling down to the western passage. The western passage is a little bit more straight and narrow, almost like purposefully carved. Similar to the rest of the main mine area, where it looks like they were carving out rooms and making a facility. The mine track looks like it was partially constructed here, and there's a stopper. But you can see that there's the remnant of where tracks might have been that continued forward and even might have begun to make a turn. As you look down this passage, you see it's a long, straight passage. This passage has two of those cart stoppers that are that are attached together and made into kind of a barricade with a hole in the middle to look through, almost like two fortifications. To get past them, you'll need to clamber over. You won't be able to get around.
I look at Zippo and say, "Come here, buddy. Just want to see you for
Okay.
a second."
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I left him up and I say, "What do you see down there?"
I can see like the something at the end of my vision, but I can't guarantee what it is.
Let's see here. So you see more of the straight and narrow passage. It goes out past your field of vision. You see that there's a second barricade about 5 feet from you. So there's a 5-foot division between both the barricades.
And there's a second barricade.
Now, does this barricade make any, sense to us? I mean, I guess I don't really have a mining background, so...
So barricades, this would make sense to you, but give me a history check?
Sure. Again, I don't have a mining background, so I wasn't really sure, but...
No. This touches on some other background of yours.
Oh, okay. War background, perhaps.
Mhm.
11.
Okay. You're familiar with trench warfare. You've had to do it from time to time in the War of the Three Brothers. This looks like a barricade for fighting a defensible point to keep an enemy at bay while also blocking the passage.
How, when we look at this, is this something that has clearly been here for a while, or is this very fresh?
It's been here for more than a week, for sure.
Oh,
So
that's
longer than the mine has been closed.
Right.
But you do remember that Thomas mentioned that they were being attacked by goblins prior to them closing the mine.
Right.
Yeah, they've been having issues for like a month now, right?
A couple weeks.
Let me check my notes from the previous session, and I might have even written down.
Fair.
But I do think that, if I can only tell that it's been here for longer than a week, yeah, this could be a fresh thing, but I do think that just Ulrich does quietly ponder how long these have truly been down here, and, what does this mean? Because he still wants to know, why is this happening?
Sure, make an investigation.
Oh, sure, okay.
If you're making an action and telling me about why, I'll give you a check for that.
How about a 20?
So, knowing what you know about war, these aren't hastily made barricades. These are purposefully made. This hallway seems purposefully made. So, from what you can tell, this might have been a insurance measure.
Okay.
But also probably saw some use recently.
Right.
Checking my notes, we were told that a week ago is when they started having problems with goblins. That's what they told us. So if these barricades are older than a week, then perhaps they expected there to be trouble.
Yeah.
Before they
I believe the way I phrased it, and I might have misphrased it, or it might have been misheard. A week ago, when they started hiring adventurers to deal with the problems in the mines.
Okay.
The problem started before that.
Yeah, so they were dealing with the problems,
So-
I guess, internally before then.
They closed the mines a week ago.
So that is interesting in general, just because they expected the goblins to come from this direction. So I think, or they expected the goblins to want to go this direction. So I think Ulrich is. All right, I really do think we should just climb over these and just get to the end here, see if there's anything they were protecting they didn't tell us about, or why here.
Perhaps there could be more goblins on the other side of these barriers that we could ask.
That also would be good if we could find more goblins and maybe take one alive, or just talk to them in general. Maybe they won't attack on sight. That'd be a fun thing.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have any equipment suited to taking people alive. But
You just need to start making you just need to start making subdual damage instead of, or non-lethal damage, I should say, instead of. Now spells, obviously you can't really do that.
does
Or
5th
ranged
edition let
weapons.
you do that with
Or
ranged
ranged,
weapons?
yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, unless you have like rubber tipped arrows.
Those at
Or-
home, eh?
Or bludgeoning arrows.
I just bought
which have
fire
sand on the
arrows.
front of them. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. No.
What if? Now, hear me out. What if we find a goblin that's living, and I shape water, force the water go into his throat, and kind of semi-drown him until he starts talking to us, and then take it out.
Waterboarding?
Yeah.
I think that goes against the
Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
It works really well because
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
mean, we had to enact those after the atrocities of the war. So
Oh, sad.
You're too young to remember.
yeah.
But anywho, on the process of barriers, I'm sure we could all make our way through the barriers if we want to see what's down there.
so I guess the question is, how are you going to be doing this? Are you going to be all going through at once? Are you sending in one to investigate and then come back? Is there going to be several people doing so?
How tall are these barricades?
10 foot.
10 foot? Oh.
Yeah, there's I will say, well, they're 10 feet wide and then they're 10 foot up, so that with there's holes in the bottom so that people standing down can shoot through, and then there's standing area, so on this side you can climb up easily, but on the other side it's like a straight drop down.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So you lift Zippo and there's a little area for him to stand, almost like a perch.
Okay.
So basically 4 people could be situated here to defend.
So this is definitely the direction they expected the goblins to come from.
Potentially.
Okay. I guess what I'm saying is the
We are
ranged
on the defender's
embankment.
side.
Yes, we're on the defender side.
Yes, you're on the defender side.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I
I have no
think
interest in climbing over this.
you have no interest in climbing over it. I think Ulrich is very interested. He would climb
Yeah.
over.
Zippo's already over it, kind of, so he's down to just go on the rest of the way.
I'm concerned about our ability to get back quickly.
Yeah,
And I
that
don't
is
like
good.
being trapped against a dead end here, so to speak. Are there goblin bodies in this tunnel?
I'm on the perch. Can I see any? See any
You
in my
can't see
vision?
any in your vision.
So Zippo's standing on top, and he doesn't see anything. I don't see anything up here.
I have a risky thing. So Ulrich, I think, maybe handed his torch to Jordan when he picked up Zippo. I didn't
Okay.
say what he did, so let's say he did that.
There's also, again, perches on either side of this area. They seem to be almost anywhere in this mine where it might be convenient for a torch to be placed. There is a place to perch one, mainly because this was a well-used mine.
Right.
It's just that all of the torches are now gone.
Right.
So
what I was gonna say is, he looks at Jordan and says, "Hey, pass the torch up to the little guy.
He hands it to Zippo.
Zippo, throw that sucker as far as you can."
Okay, I just chuck it.
Yeet.
Well, actually, I get the sense of what he's trying to get me to do. So, let's see here. Let me read this spell before I say anything.
Don't we just have like dancing lights?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can just cast.
Yeah, I
have
have
dancing lights as well.
Okay.
I
I can
forgot
cast
about
dancing
that.
lights.
Dance, lights, dance.
All right.
That works too. Save a torch.
Zippo will cast dancing lights and make them form the shape of a human, and then send them down right outside of my range there. So, probably about, if I can, send them about 70 feet. 75.
I think you just
There's
get
not a wall there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can also combine the 4 lights into one glowing, vaguely humanoid form.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
I
I
did not know that
remember.
about that spell.
I only remember that because in one of my other campaigns, I had that as a spell, and I did it to distract the dragon for us to escape, and it worked.
Dancing lights is 20 feet, correct?
Are you talking about range?
Yeah.
120 feet.
No, I mean in terms of the light that they provide.
Oh, 4 torch-sized, making them appear as torches, lanterns, or glowing orbs. Each light sheds a light in a 10-foot radius.
10 foot. Right. Okay.
Well, maybe instead of the humanoid,
Yeah, I could probably keep them as the
keep them as the orbs, and, like,
orbs to get
spread
more
them down.
light.
And let me assign them to you, Zippo. Since they are yours. Okay, atomic, sorry. Okay, the left bottom one is yours. Bottom 2 are yours. I probably should have done the 1 and then copied it, but here we are. Okay, they're all yours.
What is that broken thing? There, now that it's illuminated.
Yeah, you
So the
can potentially
passage
go this
ends down here where that last one is.
far.
So
Okay.
it's about 85 feet. At the end of which you can just make out a hole in the floor with a ladder jutting up.
Well, that sounds interesting. Obviously, we can just go down the elevator, but who made the hole, I wonder?
Probably the goblins, and if it was the goblins, they're probably not expecting us to drop like dead center of them.
Based off your insight check from earlier, this hallway seems to have been purposefully mined as part of the mine.
Yeah,
The hole in the ground is where this passage ends.
right.
It looks like the hole in the ground was part of the excavation, but maybe they didn't anticipate it being there and stopped at that point.
Right. Well, okay. I mean, look, I'm with you that we don't want to get ourselves in an undefensible situation, trapped anywhere, but I
I
really
didn't mean to cast
wonder
it. I was looking at spells. Sorry.
if it ain't worth just checking that out. Might be an element of surprise. Might be intel. We may find out that the reason that this fight is going on.
I agree with you from the element of surprise with a caveat. Obviously, the elevator is loud. We will be announcing our presence.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Descending to the next platform. What I'm afraid of diving into that hole is that we may get ambushed by goblins anyway, without the room to maneuver away from them.
Well, now, see, I'm gonna throw out another thought on that. Now, obviously, if we're able to, depending on how deep that hole is, we go down there, we look at that hole. You know, it's only a, I don't know, 20-foot ladder. Let's say that 20-30-foot ladder. Now, if we're able to scramble up and down that right quick, they got to climb up a ladder, and we're already at the top. We have the high ground. It's like that old story, you know, about the master and the mentor.
It's not difficult to break a ladder at the bottom.
That's also true. It's not. But I could just throwing out complete hypotheticals here. I could defend it as everyone's running up, and then I could break it, you know, kick a few rungs off as I'm going back up myself. I mean, either way, we either know that we're gonna be beset by goblins when we go down the elevator because they're gonna hear us coming, or we might be beset by goblins because we go down a ladder.
Counterpoint.
Huh?
We will be beset by goblins regardless of what we do, but we will have an escape route if we use the elevator. One that the goblins will have a much harder time sabotaging because its mechanical workings are at the top of the mine rather than the bottom.
Well, now, I have a question for the DM here. I
Yes.
don't remember with the elevator. Is it a rope system, or are they chains? Are they?
It's a cable. It's a metal
Okay.
cable.
A metal cable. Wow. Okay. Yeah, they would have definitely a harder time sabotaging that.
I also have a question. So, whenever we looked in here, so can we tell if this path was dug intentionally, but is it a newer path, or like can we tell if it's been built within the time that they said they started getting attacked by the goblins, or
It's I would say it's about as old as the earlier area of the mine.
Okay, so I was thinking maybe that's why the goblins started attacking, is they dug down this path a new way and found that, and then boom, goblins like, hey, no, we can't do that, fam. But if it's
Yeah.
older, then they probably
with
knew about
your
it for a while.
mining experience as a kobold, this isn't new mining. Just as the barriers aren't new.
Gotcha.
Good thought, though.
Zippo is down for whatever the rest of the party wants to do.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they've almost certainly, if there are goblins there, seen the light at this point. So.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, wait a second now. What if we sent the elevator down without anyone in it? So they all scramble to go get that. We turn out the lights over here, and then we go down the ladder.
So, while I like that idea, the controls are on the elevator car. We could lock the controls in the go down position and then bail, but the most
breaking
likely
it, yeah.
result of that would be destroying the elevator at the very bottom of the
Yep.
shaft, or unwinding the cable, which would be worse.
Right, I did forget that you had to break. All right, well, I'm done spitballing and ready to go down via elevator.
I think this seems fairly impenetrable to goblins, short of them firing back through the arrow holes, and I'd rather just take the safe route. We can always reinvestigate this path later if we reach dead ends everywhere else.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah, and that's
we'll come up this ladder later.
yeah, that might be as well. Yeah. So you're all heading back to the elevator shaft.
Yes.
Yes.
But we'll cancel the dancing lights.
I'm just gonna put them inside my false areas of the map so that if we ever need them again later, I have them as opposed to deleting them like I did last time.
Fair enough.
Oh cool, I can grab more than one thing at a time. That's always nice.
My call quality is non-existent, so I'm gonna bail for a second. Come back.
Okay.
I'm actually just going to put forward it is a 20-minute warning until break.
Thank you.
Sort of works. If you guys are talking, I can't hear you though.
We're not talking.
Okay, that's what I thought. Hey.
If you guys wouldn't mind taking us an early break, I just got a delivery at our front door that I'm gonna go pick up.
This sounds perfectly timed for a
So
break.
let's take a 10-minute break. We'll be right back, and in the meantime, enjoy this lovely D&D music. All right, we are back. Welcome back, everyone. So just waiting for the map to load back up on the. There it is. Although it's a little zoomed out. So Amethyst reminded me that I haven't been playing the music that I've prepared for this dungeon, so I'm going to try it now and hope for the best. Can everybody hear that? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna listen to it for just a second just to make sure. Does it sound okay? I'm gonna listen to it for just a second. Or is it? Well, it's not coming through Discord, it's coming through Roll20. Okay, alright. Well, remember, we're under a marsh, right? You don't hear it, Zippo? Alright, for those of you in chat, if it gets to be too loud, let me know and I'll turn it down some. But anyway, so you get back to the main elevator shaft. I placed you all in there. Who's going to be controlling the levers this time? Alright. Alright, which lever do you pull, Roger? And this is why you take notes, ladies and gentlemen, so you don't splice your party in half. I didn't even know it goes sideways. Ka-chunk. Okay. The elevator lowers down and goes down further and further and further until 30 to 40 feet down, maybe even more than that, you come to the next level. Okay. Can I get a dexterity check? Excellent. You have gotten the finesse of using this. You don't even really need to slow it down before you lock it. You kind of just, you let the lever go, it kind of slides down into place, and then you lock it. Almost like you were born in the mines, or like maybe an ancestor once worked in the mines sometime, and you're just channeling that's in your blood somehow. So you come down to the second level, and it's a lot more narrow than the last, more open level. It's a 10-foot passage that only goes east and west. It's not a plus sign like before. The trek goes west and stops. You can see that there's a passage that branches off from that to the north. And to the east, despite being able to see into darkness, or despite your torch, Ulrich, the track seems to stop into a darkness that is unpierced by either. Okay. What's the range on that? Okay. So within your range, you do not detect. Could you put the spell up just in the chat for me? But based off of what you read to me, I do not believe you detect anything of evil intent in your immediate vicinity. So it's just celestial fiend or undead, correct? Ulrich, it's just celestial fiend or undead, correct? Okay. Humanoids, yeah. Okay. Yeah, nothing within 60 feet that you're aware of. I think I see where you're going with that, though, and I like it. Mm-hmm. Probably not. What level spell is Dancing Lights? It's a cantrip, right? Yeah, they just dissipate. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said, dissipate. Like, you try pulling them out and there's nothing left. Did you want to try further investigating it in terms of like an arcane check, or if you have detect magic? I'm not sure. Okay. It's definitely evocation magic. It seems to have been cast, but you're not getting a sense of a. Usually, spells have the feeling of them, an aura of like almost like a ticking clock, based off of the what we know of the gods, being the gods of the 12, the gods of time in some degree, the clock face gods. A lot of the belief that all magic comes from the clock face gods, which is why spells that have a time limit have a almost like a feeling of time to them, like a limit to them. This spell doesn't seem to have that sensation. I did not unmute everybody, so just as a heads up, everybody was muted until this point. Thank you, Bestro.
We've been talking this whole time.
We were
Roger.
planning our revolt.
I guess Bester didn't hear what we said about them. Oh well.
Roger is going to pull an arrow out of his quiver and kind of poke it into the blackness, and then pull it back out and inspect the arrow.
Okay. You poke the arrow into the blackness. It goes in, comes out. It disappears into the blackness and comes out fine.
Okay.
Like, you can't see it even though you stuck it in. It's right in front of you.
Okay. So, two things. One, out of character. Zippo has a crowbar. I don't know why I made an ice one. First off, out of character. Like, I just looked at my stuff. I have a crowbar. Second, why don't I... Three things, actually. Second is also out of character. I have a hammer, too. The third thing, the important thing here is, why don't... I know it's risky. What if we get the strongest guys to tie a rope around Zippo, and I'll walk in and see if I can tell anything by walking through it, and then you guys can pull me back if I yank on the rope.
Sorry, did I miss the part where we just put our head in real quick?
We haven't done
Nope,
that yet.
I put an arrow in.
Right.
We're testing with inanimate objects that I won't feel bad about getting destroyed.
Right, I'm just saying that before we tie a rope to you, Zippo, maybe we just see if we can actually see through it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can feel that. And I guess Zippo will stick his head in.
You stick your head in, and immediately you cannot see a thing. You can't see your hands in front of you. If you try, you look down, can't see the floor. You're immediately blind.
Can confirm. I'll pull my head back out. You cannot see anything in there at all.
And you
All right.
still can't see. No, I'm just kidding. You can see. Yeah.
All right. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Is there more below us, or was this the last stop?
Are you asking if there's more mine floors below where we are currently?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if the elevator goes further down.
I believe we heard tell that there are more floors, but only the first two were dedicated to the Mithril brothers.
Yep. The
Right.
levels 1 and 2 are for the humans. Everything else is for the goblins.
All right. So we just came from level 2, so this is goblin territory here.
I think this is this level 2 or is this level 3?
I would say this is level 3.
I thought this was
We
level
entered,
2.
got into the elevator. Although I suppose the entrance doesn't really have much mining to it, so maybe they're not counting the entrance level as a level.
Yeah, so
probably
I
count
think
that
he
one
said
as
that
a
that
ground.
entrance was ground level.
All right,
We're
So-
on the second sub-level, if you will.
right. All right.
If we're worried about getting through the darkness, we can go with the rope plan if we have long enough rope. And I'm pretty sure there'll be tracks in there, so one of us can feel the tracks until we can see if we can feel the way out. If we
Yeah.
want to just explore this area first.
Where I'm with you. My question though is, if we're just here to stop the goblins' war, and we know that the goblins live below this level, do we want to go casting about in the darkness, or do we just want to go straight to the goblins and maybe try and talk some sense into them, or beat the shit out of them?
So far, all the goblins we've met have been shoot first, ask questions later. And
Right.
while I'm all on board with just murdering a whole bunch of them if they don't want to talk to us, the problem is the numbers. We don't know how many are on each floor below us. And while we're a decent party, I don't think we can each take 6 or 7 on at a time.
Well, I mean,
Plus,
that,
you and Roger are both in some way injured from the last few fights.
Belzine
no,
is also
uh,
not feeling good.
Yeah. So, I mean, while fighting the goblins or talking to them is a decent option, I would rather risk it to feel our way maybe to not so dangerous ways, because I can't carry you guys back to the surface if you die. Your bodies will be
but
like...
hear me out. What is the goal here of going into the darkness? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if our
Yeah.
goal is
Because we don't really know if there's even anything through there.
right,
It's a 50-50 shot, I'd say, for both ways.
It's worth mentioning that this darkness is in the same direction that the large crevasse was in, only
Yeah.
about 30 or 40 feet above us. If that crevasse is deeper than 30 or 40 feet, which I suppose those of us with long dark vision should have been able to see from the first sublevel. Were we able to see a bottom to that, looking over the edge?
You could see the water below, so it was within 60 feet. But you also weren't able to see that cliffside from the elevator, so it was farther than 60 feet from the elevator shaft itself.
right. But ultimately, at some point, if we continue this direction,
We will
there is
reach
a
the crevice.
possibility that we come to that chasm.
Yeah,
So,
and
all right.
fall into the
Right.
water. Yeah, so
Right.
I would prefer to avoid going through there. The goblins can't see through the darkness anyway.
Okay.
Right.
And the
On a
fact that they
second
can hear us talking doesn't matter because they already heard us come down here.
Did anybody check this way?
Yeah, there's that path that goes up to the north. That's another thing we could do. There's a small path here.
Okay, yeah.
Let's
I didn't know about
investigate
the
this other
path,
path.
but we could do that first. Yeah, that sounds possibly the safest.
All right.
Okay, so these paths are quite narrow. They're a lot more random 5-foot passages, lined with a silvery gold like metal in veins that seems to have been mined pretty thoroughly close to that entrance. As it branches out, it's more abundant. Careful not to dip into the map.
Yeah, I was like laying my thing and it kept auto going there, so I had to move it.
Yeah, that's the problem with tight spaces.
All right. Well, this is the part where we each split up and go down a separate path, right?
Zippo's been walking all the paths already.
I think we should do groups of 2 if we intend to split up.
Oh, I was just joking. I mean, it's tight, but we don't want to be ambushed.
It's tight, but it seems to be fairly limited in terms of the extent. Almost like this was started a lot later into the mine. Obviously, the first level is the most mined out, but you also know that there are several passages that were closed off up above. From here, this is the only branching path that you see so far. I think there's a setting where I can make it so you can't see through, go through a wall.
There.
Dynamic lighting. Advanced, maybe? No. Reveals areas. No. Explore mode I don't have on. I'm not sure where that is. Dynamic lighting varies restrict movement. Yeah, okay. Done.
Okay, sweet. Now I can't walk through walls. So there doesn't seem to be much in that area, at least. I'm not opposed to tying a rope to Zippo and having him walk out into the darkness.
The only reason I said Zippo is because he's the lightest of the bunch, I would assume, and the smallest. So with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you here, I'm sure you could pull me back.
Sure. I mean, we can do it. I'm just thinking.
So
To what end?
the options that have been posed right now, just to bring the group up to speed, is Ulrich is asking if we see if the elevator goes any further down, and Zippo would like to explore the darkness a little bit more. That's what I'm hearing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, we could go and try to do the elevator one. I mean, Zippo's not opposed to doing the elevator. He just thinks where the darkness, where it's a different kind of magic, is really intriguing to him because he's kind of a magic nerd.
Do we hear anything from the other side of...
Make a perception check.
Before we send Zippo off to potentially his death here. I rolled a 13.
Between the echoes from above from the elevator shaft mixed with the echoes to the right, you still hear the persistent tinkling of water.
Okay.
I mean, I've got rope ready to go if we want to throw them in there.
I think we all have some rope in case we need a longer rope. Hopefully this is a game of tug-of-war we won't lose.
If the group would like, you could try both methods simultaneously.
That's true.
You don't have to go all the way down if you're trying out the elevator, and you don't have to go too far into the darkness to decide what to do next.
Yeah, doesn't really
Let's-
matter.
Let's test out with the shortest rope we have, which I'm guessing is probably 50 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or more realistically, 40 feet after we've tied it off to Ulrich and Zippo on both ends, so that we have kind of an anchor for our intrepid kobold adventurer here.
For science.
Yeah.
Zippo's all about science.
He is. He does love experimenting with chemicals. That was a blast
Okay.
for him. So
So-
the next question for Zippo is: do we want him to follow the tracks or the wall? Because he could do both, or either. I mean,
Tracks.
tracks.
Tracks would
Okay.
make the sense. Yeah, I like that idea.
All right.
We can check the walls later, but I wanna see where the tracks go. Because if the tracks are broken, that's a good indication that
The crevice
perhaps
is
you should
there. Yeah.
bail. Yeah.
That's a good invitation to run.
So are you tying the rope to Zippo, or is Zippo holding on to the rope?
Oh, we're
I'd say
tying it.
tie it to him. Yeah.
To both
Okay,
me
who's
and
tying
Zippo.
it?
He can hold on to it after we've tied it to him.
Sure.
I nominate Roger to tie it.
You want my luck on the line here?
Well, I mean, I'll help you as I can, but you got more nimble hands.
It's true.
I guess that would be a sleight of hand.
I think so. Yeah. There's no used rope skill in this edition, so 16.
That's to tie Zippo.
Zip ties?
And to Ulrich.
14.
Okay, sounds good.
And obviously, Ulrich is definitely still holding onto the rope as well, but
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So
All right, Zippo.
when Zippo's getting ready to go, he's gonna reach his hands down, and he's gonna hold both hands on the tracks when he's going. That way he can kind of feel it, and he's gonna use his tail to wrap around the rope for like an extra little bit of security.
Okay. I like it.
Got to use the tail somehow, and then I will start to follow the tracks, whichever way they lead.
You've wrapped your tail around this rope, and as you enter the darkness, you actually instinctually unwrap your tail from the rope and hold it out straight. It almost helps you keep balance since you can't see the ground. You're actually well balanced despite being blind because of it. You said you're following the track?
Yeah, whichever way it leads.
Okay.
I can't see, so
I'm gonna need a straight dexterity check for that.
13.
Okay. You walk about 5 feet, and you continue the tracks. You feel them curve slightly to the north at a diagonal. You kind of stumble here and there on the beams because you can't see them, but you are still within the center of the tracks. I'm gonna move you from now on. So you just tell me how far you want to go.
I'll go probably another. I'll go about 7 feet, but cautiously because I can't see anything.
Okay, so you follow tracks. So you can't see through the darkness, so anything you are seeing should be
can't
gone
see
now.
anything. Yeah.
You couldn't see anything before?
Oh, I can't see anything in the darkness. I could see my pal.
Okay.
I can't now.
Yeah, I covered it up. All right, so you are still within the tracks.
Okay, I will follow the tracks another 7 feet.
yeah, you have
Tracks.
a total of 30 between the two of us being tied, right?
Ulrich, have you gotten closer to the darkness, or are you still where you are?
I guess I mean Ulrich would get as close to the edge as he can without going into the darkness.
Okay,
suppose.
that's fine there.
Okay.
So, just okay. So this would be about 30 feet in this area here. Okay. So Zippo, you still got some room with the rope. You still got some track.
Okay. Zippo will go another. About how much more rope does Zippo feel like he has?
It's starting to tighten, but you still have a lot of slack.
Okay. I go another 5 feet.
All right, you move another 5 feet, and the tracks are continuing in a eastern direction, and the boards are not as close together as they were.
Okay. But I can still feel like they're together, right? Like.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go another. We'll say 5 feet again, just to be safe.
Okay. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, that was not a saving throw. Hold on. It's gonna be the same roll, just a +4. So. Yeah, I got 11.
Okay. Ulrich, you feel a snap as the rope goes tight. Zippo, you plummet off the edge and go about 5 feet down before the rope slackens. Ulrich, make a strength check for me.
Can do. 17.
Zippo, you take 1 point of damage as the rope tightens and you kind of careen into the wall in like a circular motion as you rock into the wall. Since you weren't expecting the fall, there was no time for you to brace yourself. You fall off and just smack into the wall with the rope. Fortunately, it was only 1 point of damage. So,
You alright?
Maybe.
you hear the water is a lot louder where you are and echoing all around you.
Okay. Oh.
Can you see?
I don't think I can see it. No.
You cannot
Still
see
dark.
anything. No.
All right, this is definitely too dangerous for us to seriously explore in. Let's just try and pull him back.
Yeah.
Can you climb up the rope, Zippo?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to climb back out to at least where I feel the tracks.
Give me an athletics. I'll let you roll at advantage because Ulrich is helping you by pulling you, I assume.
Yeah. Don't need advantage.
Natural
Don't need
20,
it.
Let's go.
Good.
Despite your clumsy fall, you're not one to let falling down beat you down too much. You just scurry right back up that rope and get back on the hard ground that you're used to.
Okay. Once I get back up on the tracks, I got a general sense. I'm gonna tell for them to pull while I'm walking, so they can kind of pull me in the direction and start walking that way.
Going back is a lot easier now that you know the tracks and their general meander. You guys kind of followed Zippo's path here. And he kind of emerges out of the darkness.
Alright.
Welcome back.
So the cavern is that way.
Yeah.
I couldn't see, so I can't tell you how deep it was. But yeah, the following the tracks is not a good idea.
Alright, well, let's see if this elevator goes down. I mean, let's maybe just look, see if it goes down, and then if not, only way down further, or only other path is that ladder.
Yeah.
Let's just go down the elevator again.
Yep, sounds reasonable. All aboard.
Choo-choo.
Once everyone is aboard the elevator, we'll do the same thing I did last time. We'll throw the clutch.
Okay. Ka-chunk.
And then pull the lever to go down.
All right. The elevator goes down about 15 feet until it disappears. And then boom.
What's that?
The elevator doesn't seem to be sinking anymore, and you can hear the rope kind of piling up above you.
Okay, I will stop telling it to go down. Does it sound like we've hit something below us, or is this does this feel like the end of the elevator?
You can't really tell. The elevator stopped.
It doesn't feel like we've hit anything below us.
You definitely came to rest on something for the rope, the wire to be piling up. Belzian, if you could. Oh no, we lost. Okay, there he is.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't you. Yeah, since the rope was the cable was piling up on top of the elevator, it was definitely the elevator has stopped. Something has stopped it.
I'm going to attempt to raise the elevator back up with the third lever.
Okay. The third.
The
You mean-
left lever.
Okay, the first lever.
Yeah.
So we're going left to right. 1, 2, 3. The left lever.
Sure.
Okay. Do you have the right lever down as well?
Nope. I have put that back into its resting position.
Okay. The elevator, after a small amount of time, begins to rise as the cable catches up.
Right. And I'll slow this to a stop and put our brakes back down once we get back up to the second sub-level.
Okay.
All right, so we got the ladder option or the wall option, and I'm not a big fan of this
That
dark.
was short-lived.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I think our best option is to climb down that ladder.
All right.
Let's do it.
Do the ladder then.
Yeah.
So I'll navigate us back up to the first floor the same way, releasing the clutch, raising the left lever, or lowering the left lever and pulling us up, and then bringing us to a stop on the first sub-level.
Now that you're familiar with the controls, no need to make checks or anything of that nature. You manage to easily bring the elevator back to the first level.
I think that's one of the first times we actually got elevated by the elevator as opposed to going downwards.
Technically, the first time we used it, I ground us into the ceiling.
That's true. But every other time, that elevator's just been letting us down.
Ah,
Just like the rest of these tunnels. All right, so I guess we're gonna try to climb over these barricades.
they were over here.
So when we move to go over these barricades, can we leave a rope for us to climb over? So they seem designed for the purpose of being climbed over from this side, but not the other side.
Yeah.
Might be nice to have some assistance on our way back.
I think that's a sound choice.
Absolutely.
In diddly diddly.
Do I have rope? Pretty sure
I
everyone starts with a bit of rope.
Yeah, I got 50 feet as well.
Equipment. Rope. Hempen. Yes.
Jordan asks for one of the torches that you collected from the goblins.
Yep.
And lights one and puts it into
A sconce.
a sconce here.
Heck yeah, scones. Some people call them scones.
Zippo also has 10 pittance, by the way, if we ever need to climb.
Heights.
Attack
It's
on
like
Titan.
it's like a pie tin, except for climbing.
Why are we fighting? Oh, this joke just joke really well.
So we can get breader levels. That's all.
We've got to go down a level to go up a level.
Yeah.
Did you hear the pie that took on took on adventurer levels?
That sounds irrational to me.
It became a rude barbarian.
Uh,
All right, I'm
I
done.
just throw myself down the hole.
At that point, just cannonball down the crevice.
So
So we're gonna carry some rope over these things so we can return.
right, so you're tying a rope off on this first one here, so that you can go down easily and come up easily. You're using a 50-foot piece of rope for that, or are you cutting up a rope, or what's going on?
If
They're only
we
10 feet high, right?
if we cut the ropes in half, we'll have room. We'll have two 25-foot ropes, and we'll have room on the end of both ropes to tie down both ends.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
There's
can-
also the
you can
potential
cut
you
my
could tie it
rope in
off
half.
here and have the rope just draped over each if you wanted.
That sounds like a great recipe for having a large pile of rope in the middle, and no rope to climb over the barricades.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm good with leaving, just using 2 ropes or cutting my rope. It's either way works.
Let's cut some rope.
And as you would imagine, like I asked last time, are you going to be sending one person at a time, everybody at once, 2 people at a time? How are you going to the ladder?
Once we have affixed our rope, I imagine we should send one of the people with dancing lights and at least one other person over to the ladder with them. But probably the whole group.
Let's do a marching order. Are we in the marching order that we do?
I can parkour over these things, but
That's
if you
true.
ask me,
Belzian
that's
can
the
do that.
Zippo can just shape water himself an ice ladder and climb over.
I think either Roger or Yarvik should be one should be at the front and one should be at the back of the party. I think I would rather have Roger at the back to watch our flank, and Yarvik at the front, since Yarvik's a little more defense focused.
Yarvik's our HP pool right now.
I guess the question I have for you, Zippo, is the water that you're using, where are you getting it?
It says
He poured it out of a flask originally,
yeah, I can
right?
pull it out of either my water thing, or I could just go get some water from the barrels because we got those
Okay.
barrels of water up there.
Yeah, I'll say that your uses that you're talking about, you'd be using up your whole flask per use. So just be mindful of that. I like making a crowbar would probably be most of the water in a flask, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah.
And
But he
then like a
could
ladder
reshape
might
the
be more
crowbar.
than that. He could,
Yeah.
yeah, if he kept all the pieces or whatnot. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. And
Well, I mean,
Like, I love
Zippo's
the
also
flavor.
really small, so I mean, they could just
Right.
set me on top and I can slide down and then do it again. I'm down. But whenever you were out of character, when you were talking about me being blind, I was gonna say we need that harness now so that I could just strap on to Ulrich and he just points me in the direction.
yeah. All right,
want,
so
then,
let's
Zippo could
rearrange
be up front
based
if you
off
guys
of marching order. So Roger, you said you wanted to be in the back.
Yeah.
We'll put Yarvik and Jordan in the middle, I guess.
Um,
I'd say that's the safest place since Yarvik is the healer at the moment. So him and Jordan both have healing spells. They should probably be in the middle in case someone in the front or someone in the back gets hurt. They can easily get to them.
Well, Jordan has Healing Word, which is a ranged healing spell.
That's true. Yeah.
I think Ulrich in the front makes sense.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
And then either Yarvik or Belzian probably also in the front.
Let's put Belzian in the front.
Yeah,
Just
Belzian
because
is
Yarvik's...
literally ready to go over the top for y'all.
Oops.
But he does note that he could probably stomach no more than one crossbow bolt or arrow.
Oh yeah, you are looking a little rough. You want a little pick me up?
I don't feel so great. That would be very good.
Hey, here you go.
Healing and a pick me up.
There you go.
Amethyst.
Oh, wow.
And hit points back to you.
Belzian is appreciative.
There's one thing I meant to mention to you earlier, which I'm gonna have you do now, and I'll get back to you on. I'll describe what it is based off of what you roll. Could you roll me a perception check, please?
I can do that.
Okay. Give me one more, because this has actually happened twice.
The second
Okay.
one was much better.
When you approached the goblins, so we'll fast forward or rewind for 1 second. Back when the second goblin encounter, so the first goblin encounter was where we ended session last time. I meant to have you do this at the beginning of the session. When the situation ended and the two goblins were killed, the perception check you rolled, you felt some sort of movement in your bag. Yeah.
I'm going to investigate. And we'll open up my bag and see what in there might have been moving.
Okay. Give me an investigation roll real quick.
$17.
You notice that the goblin hand, its middle finger is caught on something else in your pack, as if it had recently moved and grasped like say you had a piece of cloth in the bag. It's almost as if the finger tightened on it while it was in the bag.
That's curious.
Anyway, back to the hallway at hand. All right, so Belzian and Ulrich, you're heading over the first barrier.
Oh yeah, parkour.
Because you have made these ropes, I won't even make athletic checks for these. You've assisted yourselves enough that the check would be meaningless. It would be like the only way to fail it would be to get a 1 through 5, and with other people assisting you, you have advantage. So yeah, it's negligible to roll.
I did it because I wanted to flex.
That's fine. So now you have the task of making another rope for this one.
I didn't know it was a competition.
Yeah, we do the rope again. I mean, I have the other half.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What? And you're attaching these to the bolt holes, I guess. Like tying it around that. Looping it around one and like knotting it through.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
All right. go ahead and climb over the second one, I guess. If that's what you'd like to do.
Parkour!
Parkour.
You gotta yell parkour every time you do it, or it doesn't count.
Parkour.
I would like each of you to make a dexterity saving throw.
All right.
And
I'm gonna burn that inspiration that
All right.
I have. I also. Well, it doesn't matter. There we go.
oh, well, that's a bit better.
Good spin.
Spin
Bells-
to win.
Belzian, are you going to do anything, or are you taking the 10?
Oh, I do have an inspiration from like our first session or something.
Yep, that still applies.
Okay,
You
good
use it till
idea.
you lose it.
Can't use it if you're dead. Maybe this will work better. Come on. Oh, if you tab out, it doesn't finish the roll. Okay,
Yeah, that's
16.
pretty good.
That's twice as good.
All right. Each of you jumps out of the way as a hole in the floor opens up beneath you, right in the center of the passage. You jump back up against the wall on either side of you, and looking down, you see a spiked pit with corpses. It's 5 feet wide and in the center of the hall. So if you skirt the outside of the passage, you can still walk.
Are these goblin corpses or human corpses?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Make a nature check.
Sure.
How big are they?
21.
Belzian, yes, they are something. Ulrich, you looking down the hole, you see that most of the corpses in there are older and aged and falling apart, and they are small. But there is one medium creature in there as well. This one seems to be more recent. He has the symbol of the mines on his shoulder. And he seems to have a bag on him.
Well,
A bag.
As you observe this, the hole closes again and resets.
all right. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not really sure that our employers are as good-natured as they try and sell themselves.
I mean, they wouldn't watch a dog, and that was the first hint.
You know what? I'm inclined to agree. All right. So here,
Perhaps we can still resolve this issue in such a way that we get paid.
yeah. I mean, I definitely want to get paid, but I still maybe don't want to kill the goblins if we don't have to. More importantly, I'm interested what that bag is. I know it sounds greedy, but
Does anybody have a 10-foot pole
Ooh.
or a spear?
To the inventory.
I've been told I got a stick up my ass, but afraid it's not 10 foot.
I'd have to start calling him Turnip Head.
I just got rope.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We got rope, and I mean, I could scamper down there with some rope, maybe.
How far down did the pit seem?
Yeah, that's true.
10 feet.
It's a
That's
pretty
not
small
bad.
pit.
The spikes are the concerning part.
Yeah.
I get your point.
I feel out of character. Normally I carry a small armory with me when I build martial focused characters with one of more or less every kind of weapon, including a pole arm of some sort. Didn't do that for Roger, and now I'm disappointed.
I just want to say,
and of course, the mines have been cleaned out, so the armory that you might have been having access to, unfortunately, the goblins have already looted.
But doesn't
Although you
Belzian
do
have
have a
a
plethora
pickaxe?
of goblin scimitars lying around.
I do have a
and-
pickaxe.
Yeah, Belzian picked up a pickaxe and a shovel before we left the warehouse.
but
I don't know
I
what
do
his
want to
reach
also
is,
just point
ahead.
out that we've already tied 25 feet worth of rope to the other side of that wall. Literally,
That's
just
very true.
throw it over on our side. We got 20 feet to go down, which is exactly how much we need.
Yeah, if you want, we'll throw it. Zippo, try to throw it over.
And assuming your knots are good, we won't even get impaled on the spikes.
Okay, yes, there's the hope. But I mean, this armor better be good for something.
Yeah, since we didn't roll since it was only a 10-foot wall, I didn't have you roll a sleight of hand check, but now I will.
Okay.
Roger can go over and check the knots now that we're going to use them for something more dangerous.
Thank you.
I didn't think we'd be bungee jumping today.
I rolled a
Oh my
14.
god. Did you say punji jumping? 'Cause that's very good.
All right, 14. Good to know.
So good.
So to think through this, why don't you tell me your logical explanation for what your plan is going into this pit?
We
Sure.
have the lightest person do it to put the least strain on the rope.
This sounds like a Zippo thing.
Hey, Zippo!
Jordan goes like this.
Well, I was going to say we could have Zippo do it. Also, Ulrich is very athletic. He can do it, and depending on whether the rope holds, of course, is the only.
Yeah.
Would you just rappel down?
But
Actually, before we consider who's going to get in there, can we reliably trigger this pit without having to be standing in the middle?
that's what I was going to say. If we, I think that the only way to trigger it is to be on it. So essentially, Ulrich's already over here. He grabs the rope, he takes a step, and he holds on tight. But I would ask that Jordan go ahead and get over onto this other side and keep an eye on Ulrich and have ready Featherfall.
You can cast Featherfall proactively, right?
I believe so.
I know it's a reaction, but I don't remember. I guess you could.
I feel like it'd be much safer to cast it proactively and then just have you step over there and gently glide down.
I mean, it's a reaction that triggers immediately as soon as someone falls. But I
Looking
see
at
what
the
you're saying.
spell Featherfall, choose up to 5 falling creatures within range.
Yeah, so I think you have.
So it's one reaction which you take when you or a creature within 60 feet of you falls. So I can, as a reaction, if I see you falling, I can cast it and up to 5 falling creatures if you'd like me to. However, if we have the rope tied, is that something that we need?
Well, so the point being here is if I'm actually falling, or whoever's going down here is actually falling. Because if you're tied and you kind of like put one foot against my thought here is, if whoever does it, they're at the rope, they step into the center and put one foot against the wall, which is the barricade wall.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already kind of like propped. But when that happens, gravity, of course, is going to take over. They're going to have a little bit of a slip, but will they actually be falling because they're propping themselves up against the wall and the rope and creating tension? Or is the rope going to suddenly snap and then they're really falling?
Right, gotcha. So my prepared reaction is if the rope snaps, is what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, true falling versus I've sunk a millimeter.
Right. Okay.
Thank you for
So
using
I'm
that.
gonna need to clamber over and get where Belzian is. Belzian, where are you going to go?
You said there's enough room to skirt around the edge, eh?
Yes, but I'm gonna need to be skirting around the edge, and we can't occupy the same space.
Can I just perch on the wall? Or
Yes,
the
you
barricade?
can. And as
Yeah.
you can see, I've marked the hole. It's just underneath both of us, so you can see here. But
Oh, I was thinking of just keeping Jordan safe, and like you said, you can like look through the wall, like there's.
that's true.
Arrow.
But once you fall out of sight,
That's fair. Yeah.
because it is a. Oh, actually, you know what? Range area 60 feet. It's any creature that is falling. It doesn't say anything about that I can see. That's interesting.
Yeah. I guess not.
I mean, I would say that I'm gonna keep him there. I would say that I need
Sure.
to be aware that you're falling,
Yeah.
so
I
I'd
would
have to
agree.
see it.
Scream really loud if you fall.
I'm
I'm falling.
Oh, okay. All right.
Are we ready to execute this plan?
So, Auric, you have a hold of the rope. Are we going to do anything for the hole itself, like after it opens?
Oh,
I,
thank you.
I don't have the means to pry it open necessarily.
So I
Do you
would
want to
say
take a look at it?
is
Yeah.
is the rope. I would wonder if the rope like falling through would like, with a convenience store door, if something's blocking the path, like the door opens back up. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you're talking about like an automatic door at a Walmart? Like,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
like boom, boom.
And Wawa.
Because or a Wawa or
Walmart
name
don't
it.
have automatic doors. Silly.
I know so little. I'm sorry.
but yeah, I mean, like, is the rope being through the thing enough to like ensure that it doesn't reseal?
We can test that with about a foot of rope if you really want to. If you think we can
Yeah.
reliably set this off without falling into it.
It's one way to find
Yeah.
out.
How big is it? 5 feet?
It's a 5-foot hole.
I was going to say, do we have anything we could just wedge in there to keep it ajar?
5 feet is the problem.
I don't have a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
We need a 5-foot pole.
Nor do I have a 5-foot pole or like a stock of spears, would be my normal suggestion.
I have a club, but I don't
Ulrich's-
think it would be 5 feet.
Ulrich's got his great axe. I think that he's got his great axe in one arm, in one hand. He's got the rope in the other, his foot against the wall, and he's about ready, to put his foot down into the center, the other foot into the center. And as he kind of like begins to descend, he'll hold the axe up to create. I mean, it's a great axe, so that's got to be 4.
Do you want to like attempt to wedge it in by like trying to trigger it like you did before with your dexterity and then wedging it, or do you want to fall through and make a acrobatics to try and wedge it in?
I think I would prefer. I mean, it's the same roll regardless, I guess. But I think I like the. I mean, he's holding on to the rope either way, so I guess he'll just try and trigger it and then, make a dexterity save and try and wedge it in real quick.
All right, let's do that. All right, so you step on the center of the passageway, make a dexterity saving throw.
7.
You fall in.
He's holding the rope.
Yep.
And
Make a, I guess a strength to hang on.
Okay, save or
Yeah.
6.
Oof.
But he also had his friend who had the reaction.
Yep. So Featherfall it is.
Does Featherfall make him fall slowly?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm glad we put all those in place.
Good job. Is there enough time to try to grab him as he slowly descends?
Well, I mean, he can
Or
grab
not space.
himself.
You can just grab.
So my
So,
speed becomes
falling
60
creature
feet.
slows to 60 feet per round until...
So okay, I mean it's only 10 feet deep, right? So
Right.
I take no falling damage, but I am now standing on spikes.
Right, but you don't... So, if your descent slows to 60 feet per round, I guess you'd take the spike damage, but not the fall damage? Is that what I'm...
I
Um,
guess
reading?
I mean I'm standing on them, but I'm also I don't know if I like lost the rope or if I could like what happened there.
it depends.
You slid
on
down
how,
it.
Depends on how spiked pits work in this edition. In 3.5, typically they made an attack roll,
Hmm.
which, in addition to the fall damage that you would take, depending on the nature of this spike pit, that might be a reasonable approach, or one could perhaps reasonably assume that falling slowly is enough to negate the damage from like crude stone spikes.
I mean I'm familiar with how they work if that's helpful, Josh, but
So, a creature falling into the pit takes 2d10 piercing damage from the spikes, in addition to any falling damage. So I would say that the spikes are separate from the fall damage.
right.
Is that what you would have
Yeah,
ruled
that's
as well?
what I would say
Yeah.
as well. I'm
So-
on them, and essentially gravity's still working, like I'm
Right.
standing on them.
So let's roll that.
Okay.
Only 8.
Yeah.
Below average damage.
God damn it!
As
God.
you kind of slide down and it pokes through your boots.
Ah. All right,
You don't need to make any further saves. These spikes seem to just be spikes.
okay. That's good.
No
I didn't think
poison,
about
always
poison. I mean, he's down here. He'll grab the rope or grab tight to the rope, prop himself up against the wall, and then I guess he still has his axe in hands. He'll.
Do you have... So, I guess here's an important time to ask, where's your torch?
Oh, I mean, I had to climb ropes previously, so I would have put it out.
So you put it out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the scenario we have. You disappear into the hole with the rope, with an axe. You land on the spikes and yell in pain. And then the hole closes up again. And the rope is now wedged in the doors as the
Okay.
contraption pulls it taut against the chamber. So you still have slack, you still have the rope, but it doesn't seem to keep it open. You are now in darkness in the pit with the rope and your axe.
I mean, yeah, again, he'll try and wedge himself, kind of like prop himself so his feet are on the wall, got the arm. He'll clumsily try and put the axe up, sheath it.
Like loop it
Yeah.
on your belt?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine, as silly as it is, but back in this case, because it's a great weapon, but
Right.
and then I think of it like a rifle strap maybe, and then he'll kind of carefully try and reach down to feel for a big humanoid.
Okay. while he's doing that, is anybody else doing anything?
Upon seeing the thing close, I say we have an obligation to at least try to open it back up and get him out.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, how are we opening it up without falling on top of him?
Jordan's going to make a attempt to open the passage as well.
Can we say that
Since he's
Jordan
right there.
cast Featherfall on all of us?
No, because none of the rest of you are falling.
Do the people that are targets of the spell have to be falling?
Choose up to 5 falling creatures within range.
Gotcha.
So Jordan is going to attempt to open it again. He makes his save. It opens up, and he casts
Dancing lights.
dancing lights so that you can see, and puts it down there.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
But that's about all he has, because he doesn't have an axe of any kind to wedge it. Come to think of it, that probably would have been a good thing to ready. Have somebody else ready to put the axe in while you're going in.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So you grab the pack of the humanoid that's a mine worker. The goblins that are now plainly visible down there are whatever they had on them is rags and beyond collecting at this point. They've been here quite a while. It's pretty smelly down here. The guy that's down here has been here for at least maybe a week.
Okay.
And I'm basing that off of your nature roll from earlier.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's got no reason to linger if he's got the pack.
Yep. And the door closes again as you're doing that, obviously.
Just curious, just to clarify, since the rope is going through, is there a bit of light that I could, is there obviously kind of a gap up there of any
Just
kind?
a very small gap, so it's very, very low light in there. You know what I mean? It's just like
how small we talking? As thin as the rope or thinner?
Yeah, as thin as the rope, maybe a little thinner.
We can see the light coming up out of it from the dancing lights that were
Yes.
were
Yeah.
thrown down.
So you can make an attempt to climb out, and we could maybe simultaneously trigger it.
Yeah, I think
We can communicate with you if that's what you were getting at.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, hey, maybe Zippo could climb down part way and just hold on to the rope and stand.
Yeah, okay. And Zippo try to do that for him. Climb down the rope and hold on to it and try to trigger the trap while holding onto the rope to try to get out of the way.
Okay. Make a dex.
19.
All right. You trigger
Nice.
the trap easily, and kind of just sashay out of the way.
Yeah, I scamper out as quick as I can.
All right. Let's do acrobatics, or no, athletics. Athletics. Excuse me.
22.
You just power right up.
Hey, I never missed that in gym class, I guess.
It's everybody's favorite spiked pit traversal class.
Paladin boot camp.
Yeah, but boot camp's really what it was. All right, now.
So what's in the box?
if there's nothing of value in here, I'm giving each of you 1 gold.
Oh, can't say can't say
What about
fairer
a
than
second?
that then.
So you open up the bag.
Once we get somewhere safe, yes.
Okay.
Well,
So
let's move away from the giant
The trap.
are you doing anything about the trap at all at this point?
I don't feel equipped to. No.
Yeah, like, take a mental note of where it is.
Does anybody have anything to mark it with, or did you want to wedge it with the axe like you were talking about?
Oh, I could use that axe, so I'm not.
To mark it, Zippo will take a piton out, or python, or whatever you want to call it, and like in front of where the trap is, he'll hammer it into the ground.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Like right next to it.
Not on it, because he doesn't want to take a chance of triggering it, but next to it, so we know, hey, right next to this piton is a trap. Be very careful.
Maybe we could tie the rope to that python so that, we can climb back over easily.
Yeah, that works too.
I have, pen and parchment, but I don't think that would make a huge difference.
Amethyst, you have thieves' tools, correct?
I do have thieves' tools.
Okay.
But
I
without
will
access to the mechanism, I'm not confident I could disable it.
Right. Of course. Yeah. So, like, if you were inside with the mechanism, you might feel more confident doing so. So, if you were in Ulrich's position, you might have been more able to work on the trap some. But
Maybe,
I'm just reminding you that you have that kit.
But on the other hand, I could also have locked myself in there.
Correct. Yes. Absolutely.
So let's instead not do that.
Okay. Yes, the good DM maketh good suggestions that might also be dual-edged. Continuing on. So, safe distance. Where is the safe distance?
Be careful, small fellow.
All right, so Zippo is moving further down into the hall.
Does anybody
Everyone
have...
else is...
I'm not moving at all. Nope.
Okay.
I think if we stay, like, kind of just to be safe, up against the walls as we move.
Yeah, like back against the wall.
Yeah.
Slowly doing a
Just kinda,
crab
like,
walk.
creep along, just to be safe.
Okay.
And I would consider a safe spot to be essentially right where the ladder is.
Okay.
Bold of you to assume
So,
that there is-
Ulrich, since you've gone all the way down the passage, and you've described that you're hugging the wall, each of you. When you get here, make a reflex.
That's a 9.
A pit opens up beneath you. Right here.
God damn it, that's not how that's supposed to work, you bastards.
Where did Ulrich go?
So, this pit is not a door, it's more like a pratfall pit.
Mm-hmm.
As in, like, it's loose earth. That looks like it got partially filled in with rubble.
Okay.
You see evidence of spikes down at the bottom, but you actually slide to a safe distance away. This has still been a hole that was covered, but it was more like Yarvik says, "Oh, it's like one of my traps I used to catch animals." Neat. You okay there?
Yeah, just my pride's damaged, and hopefully I can climb out of this safely.
Yeah, so you tumble down. You take 3 points of damage as you kind of fall between the rocks and things of that nature, but otherwise you're unharmed. As each of you, does anybody react to this on your travel down the passage at this point? Before you continue further, or
Zippo would just be like, well, there's another one, I guess, and he'll pull out a bit and a python, getting ready to put it back in,
okay,
and then he'll walk about. Well, he'll stay right there for a second because I got to answer the door, but in a second he'll walk.
Belsian would gasp. Very helpful, I know. You know, skirt along the wall, obviously. See if
where
our
did
buddy
Dorothy
Ulrich
go?
needs a hand.
Oh, there he is. He reset. Okay, so Zippo has stopped there. Jordan will sidle up next to him. Is anybody checking for any more traps around them at this point, since obviously this hall's been trapped, or are we based on discovery based?
I haven't even climbed over the second barricade.
I see that.
Extra cautious.
Look,
You
you
are
don't get to
so
live
hesitant
this. You don't get to
about
live this long in a reconnaissance unit by arrowing forward into every obvious trap.
Yeah, I am an infantry slash. Yeah, kind of. Maybe general-esque.
I guess Zippo will look, because considering where where Ulrich fell, Zippo will look at that spot and see if he can see a trap in front of him.
In front of him. Okay. Make a perception.
17.
There is indeed a pit mirrored on the other side, or at least you see the outline of one.
So
It's like hopscotch. You got two on the outside and one on the center, and that little path there. Okay, seeing that, Zippo will try to walk in the middle to get past it.
Okay.
And get set here. He's gonna walk right through the middle and then like set back against the wall just in case.
All right. Yarvik reaches his hand out and says, "You need help there, bud?" Out for Ulrich.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, helps you out of the pit. Looks like you took quite a fall there.
Yep.
Hope it didn't mess you up too much.
No, I'll be all right. On a scale of, I don't know, 0 to 34, I'd say I'm at 14, which isn't great, but
On hearing the scale numbers, Zippo will just casually walk over to here underneath the dancing light and then see if he can peek down the hole a little bit without going over in it.
Okay. So you can see 60 feet down, and 60 feet down is not enough to pierce the darkness. You see the ladder go down into the hole, at least 60 feet, and continue.
Okay, so I'm gonna say to the party, this ladder goes down for a decent amount. Like it goes way past 60 feet, as far as I can tell.
How many goblin lengths would that be, you think?
Probably more than a scale of 34 can handle.
I mean, I would imagine it'd be 60 feet, right? Like one foot per leg.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
So 30 goblins.
Let's toss a rock down there and see how long it takes to hit the ground.
It's also good. Well,
Well,
wait.
I mean, you gotta
Also
come
said
over
dancing
here
light.
in order to be able to discern that, Roger. You're all the way back by the barricade.
I can hear them just fine.
Everybody else is just reversing it. Roger's like, I'll be right here. You need help? You come back.
I'll be there for you.
I mean, we can also send a dancing. I think throw a stone down, but also we can send a dancing light just to.
Yeah, because they got the 120 feet range. So
I'll go ahead and follow the path the others took over safely.
All right, so you hug the wall, hug the wall, hug the wall, hug the wall. See the
So-
pit and the hole, and then you hug the middle, and you're through.
Yeah.
Ulrich, you said when you got over by the ladder, you were going to look in the bag.
Oh yeah. I do that.
Okay. In the bag are 3 solid iron ingots and a key.
Ah, thank God.
Okay. Shall we take this key and try and get through the storeroom door before we go down the pit?
Yeah, I guess we could do that. That's
As he looks warily back down the passage.
Yeah.
if you want to wait here for safety, Zippo and someone else can run back there.
no. I'm happy to go.
We've marked where all of the pits that we've found are, and we've got a safe walkway.
I mean, I know it's safe. You came over here, Roger. That means it's safe. Roger does not tread into danger. I know this.
Alright, I guess we're making our way back there.
That door's been stumping us for minutes
Too
or hours
long.
by now. Let's make careful
I would say probably at least a couple hours, yeah.
Ooh. Skip the traps. Parkour! Parkour!
Parkour.
I mean, yeah. I think the most challenging part is climbing back over that first wall.
Hence the rope.
Yeah, but I mean,
still be
again,
pretty
because it has
tired.
that disappearing ground beneath it. But we did tighten the rope, so I guess
Yeah.
we're kind of like.
So now that you know where the hole is, you can definitely avoid it. The problem is, what happened is you and Belzian both kind of came down on the other side, unknowing that the floor beneath you had a trap. So you know how like you land wide to like steady yourself.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot different than when you're climbing up and you're like trying to stay away from a certain area.
You're like dismounting a ladder or something. It's
Right.
different than
You-
jumping down.
Yeah. All right. So you head back over to the vault door, or the foreman's office, as some have called it, or the storeroom, which some of you have called it, or the fucking door, which some people have called it.
I mean, it's just so pretty.
So what are you gonna do? You just gonna put the key in?
Yeah.
Before we jam the key in there,
Sure.
let's because the keyway was, I believe, slightly obstructed, was mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Let's try and clean out the keyway before we just jam the key in there.
All right. Give me a what did we use last time? Sleight of hand, I think.
Sleight of hand seems the most appropriate.
This is the first time that I anticipated shape water, and it didn't happen.
I'm out of water.
Yeah, I know, but like,
There's a whole underground river. Just bring some over.
Right? I mean, look, I'm down to shape water.
This isn't
I
the
can
first
create
time-
on
Man, that was so funny though. You just said I'm out of water.
I'm out of my fun times. Wait, could I use goblin blood?
No.
No, today.
This is not Avatar, okay?
14 to get stuff out of the keyway.
So if it was to unlock the door, I would say that no, that didn't work. But since you're only trying to obstruct it less, you managed to. Let's see here.
Unjam the keyway. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, you managed to work out one of the things that was obstructing. It seems to be a broken lockpick, crudely made.
And is there still more stuff in there?
Probably.
Great.
Thank you.
So I couldn't use goblin blood.
Apologies. Cat.
I mean, to the rest of the party, are we willing to stay here in front of this door for a while while I try and clean out the inside of the lock so that we can actually test this key?
I mean, I would be willing to do that, yeah.
I'm happy to hang out for a bit. I'll keep an eye on the eastern-western hallways here.
And while you're doing it, I think Ulrich would spend 10 minutes to ritual cast Detect Magic, just in case anything is magical.
Okay. What are you looking for in the Detect Magic?
Anything magical within 30 feet of me.
Magic.
Okay.
Depends on what pings is magical when we
Yeah,
cast.
that's ultimately. Well, I mean, I guess from a completely like I'm wondering standpoint, I think we did this at the door already. I'm more curious now about the key, but anything magical is also a win.
The key is indeed magical, and the door is somewhat magical.
Right.
Can you pop yeah, okay, thank you. You can't see anything through the door.
Right.
Let me look up.
I love that the dog completely has just replaced you. I looked away from the camera for a second, and then boom, just dogging view.
That's the dog waiting at the start of the mine. Come back.
He loves to be the focus.
The door has an abjuration magic on it.
Okay. What about the key?
Working on it. It's a transmutation.
All right. Well, that was my 10 minutes.
Roger, can I get? I get. You know what? Sleight of hands. If you're gonna, like, I don't like to do like take tens. In terms of like you automatically get it just because it cheapens things. So give me a couple rolls. Give me 3 rolls.
Okay. I'm not sure if 5th edition has like the equivalent of 3.5's take 20.
Yeah.
Which is more what I was going for here, but.
So for the purposes of cleaning out the lock, you managed to. You're fairly confident that there is nothing left in the keyhole. In fact, you feel it's like in better condition than it was when the mine was probably in production at this point. You probably used like the oils that you use to clean your weapons to like polish out the inside and everything like that. It's good to go for that key.
All right. Shall we try the key on the door?
Yeah, absolutely.
The magic key on the magic door.
Ooh.
All right, so, Ulrich, you put the key into the lock, and you hear, a loud, audible knocking sound, from within the door. The door trembles for a moment, and then a bar pulls out, from the middle of the door, and the door loosens, like it kind of sways for a second.
Yeah, I mean, we push it inward because I think it opened in, if I recall correctly.
The door does not push in,
We pull it out.
nor does it pull out.
We
It's
push
a
it
to the
out.
left.
Yeah,
It
we lift
slides to the left, yes.
up. God damn it.
It slides into the wall to the left until there's a handle that you can see that's on the edge of the door that you could pull it closed once you need to close it again.
Well, that is fancy.
And before we enter here, does there appear to be a keyway on the other side?
So the key is now inset into the wall. The keyway, like the hole that would be where the key would be, is into the wall now.
But we can, like, pull it out.
You could pull
again?
it back out, yeah.
So, like, if we pull it out a touch, is there a keyhole on the other side? Or a clear way to, like, still open it?
There is indeed.
Okay. Thank you for checking on that, because, I would have just rushed in there and locked myself in here for a good long time.
I'm not confident we would have been able to get you out. Maybe with enough persistent effort. But what do we see through the door now that we have it open?
I'm gonna pop you guys through because I accidentally didn't make the doorway its own thing.
Oh, separate thing, yeah.
I was still learning lighting with this, so it's a small room. Let me bring up my notes for this room. So, as I said, the vault door is a stone wall on a sliding track reinforced with metal. Inside, the vault has a map of the first and second levels of the mines. There's a, on the table over here, which is not shown, there is also a, next to it, a shelf of several books looking to be ledgers. There's a lockbox close to where Zippo is, right here.
Does it look like a fancy lockbox?
It does. It has 3 locks on it.
Ooh.
So the shelf has 4 books.
So when Zippo sees that, he's going to ask Ulrich for the key.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to give that, of course, but I do just want to say, well, I do suspect our employers are maybe not as upstanding as we might like, or anyway, I don't know that we should be stealing from them.
Let me check the notes here, but I believe they gave us express permission to take whatever we found.
They did say,
shit.
take whatever
They
you
did-
find.
they
So,
did say that.
we found this.
Perhaps it would be helpful
So,
for our mission.
I believe they said that you can take whatever you find below the mines in the goblin area.
Right, which isn't really theirs to give, but
We found goblins in this area.
Which technically makes this goblin area. So,
Right.
All right, all right.
bada bing, bada boom, coolest dudes in
Go
the
ahead,
room.
go ahead, Roger.
We can, if we need to justify this to them, we can take the lockbox down below there.
Well, I
and
mean-
return with it.
Or we just throw a goblin in here and leave it there, right? I mean,
I mean, we don't even have to take the lockbox. We just take the insides, and they never check. They're not checking my bag. So
Or just take the lockbox and assume that and we can decide whether to give it back to them later.
So the lockbox is fairly large. It's about the size of Zippo wide, and it's heavy.
Okay.
Very heavy.
So more like a chest or a safe. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have to break into this. We're not gonna be taking it for ourselves.
Yeah, it's like an iron chest.
Zippo's ready to open it. He's excited, and he doesn't even know
There's
what.
also, as you can see, 6 barrels, 4 of which are identical to the barrels you saw that were situated around the pillar from earlier.
Okay.
About the same size and shape and seal. And then the other 2 here are empty.
Interesting. It's not that interesting, but
You can also see that the track goes in here and stops, as if the cart could be loaded or unloaded, and then taken to the elevator or other areas of the mine.
Let's inspect the ledgers
yeah.
and other books, as there may be non-ledger books over there.
Did somebody say books?
So looking at the map of the mines, I'm going to mark 2 more traps that you missed in the trap hallway.
The traps are on the maps?
Yes.
I'd hope so. It'd be really dumb to not put them on the maps if you were the kind of person who was going to trap your hallways.
Otherwise, you see how the mine shafts that are destroyed branch off into twisting hallways and go further down into the second level of the mine, both to the south and to the east. I'm not going to illustrate those on the map, so you'll just have to use Theater of the Mind for those. For what it's worth, since those systems are collapsed, that will only be useful to you if you find yourselves on the other side of it.
Okay.
The ledgers go into detail about the last few months in terms of production of the mines. The more recent entries go into reinforcing several parts of the mines from goblin incursions over the last couple weeks, including digging new traps in the already fortified area of the Western Hall.
So the fortifications are like at least a month old.
The fortifications, it seems like the fortifications were there prior, but the traps are newer. It also mentions a item that they bought from a local magic shop that emanates darkness permanently when opened in a 30-foot radius, which they put on the lower section to keep goblins from coming from their main entrance to the elevator. That was deployed as a last tactic just before they shut the vault. It also details that they shut the vault, and the foremans were shutting the vault so that the goblins wouldn't get the things and sending the last shipments up.
Does
and then it cuts off.
Does it detail what would be in the lockbox?
It does not.
So,
Another ledger simply has ingredients for different chemicals and also refinement for different gems that are found and or other metals that are found.
Zippo's taking that book with him.
One of which has instructions for how to mix sulfur, niter, and charcoal to make gunpowder, which is 75% niter, 10% sulfur, and 15% charcoal.
Yeah, Zippo's taking that book with him, and we're long resting down here eventually so he can get all the barrels with him. After we finish reading some of the ledgers, Zippo's going to just constantly be going back to the lockbox going, key, 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 at Ulrich.
Can Roger's going to inspect the locks on the lockbox.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I want to see kind of the general quality of the locks and how they're positioned. Like, are they set into the box, or are they kind of attached after the fact? Are they something we could shear off to open the box, or are they something that are like
Give me an investigation just for all around. All right. So all three locks are inset into the lockbox. It seems to have been smithed here at the mines. It even has the symbol of the mines on it. Each lock bears a different shape that's unique. They are smaller than the lock on the door. You would imagine that the key that Ulrich used on the door itself does not fit any of these three locks. Based off of the knowledge that there are two foremen and they each had keys, you now know which had which and what happened to one of them.
Dang it, I was really hoping where you said the key was magical. It was like a reshaping key. So it just reshapes.
Well, I will say it does have a transmutation magic on it, for what that's worth. I don't know if that means it'll reshape itself.
Out of character, that probably just indicates that it has knock, which the knocking sound
Yeah.
would have indicated it. In character, Roger is more inclined to go looking for additional keys, assuming these are higher quality locks with 3 keys and one foreman having the vault key. It's possible the 2 Mithril brothers have 2 of the 3 remaining keys, and the other foreman has the 3rd.
Yeah, that tracks.
That seems like which makes me curious as to what would be in there that they would want all 3 of them present to open it for.
Okay. So, The question is, how do we think we could open it without the keys?
Probably
Not a good chance.
But I mean, here, and Ulrich just kind of like reaches towards it with the key to see if the key does, clearly fit into anything. He tries one of the smaller holes.
You push the key against the hole, and it
slaps.
Yeah.
All right, well, you gotta try sometimes.
Probably no way to bust the thing open.
So, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get into this.
Nope, and it seems relatively safe from goblins. I would like to jot down quick copies of the maps.
Sure.
At least of the parts that seem relevant. Not the super long, twisty passages, but the central parts around the elevators.
Sure. So the second floor, which also is mapped, has the area that you saw earlier, which was the windy bit, which is marked Platinum Mine.
Okay.
And then it kind of, on the eastern side, it right-hand angles, so it turns in a curve before it goes to what looks like an entry area and an illustrated door that says "Entry to the Goblins" area.
Ooh. Could it be the goblin's front door?
And then to the south of that, there is the water that Zippo almost fell into, illustrated with tracks that go across it in a curve and then enter into more mines that are to the south that loop back around to the first floor and so on. Those are the gem mines. That's also the track that was all in darkness. That's the same track that Zippo followed.
Presumably only 30-foot radius darkness.
So that item, did it specify if the item was has to be in the 30-foot radius, like it's the center of it, or did it just say it opened it and released one?
I think it's open and it's the center of it is the impression I got.
That's what I was thinking. So if we could figure out a way to close it, we'd be opening ourselves up to goblins, but we'd be able to see.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did either of the maps talk about the ladder?
The ladder is marked as a ladder. It says 2 goblins next to it.
I mean, I don't know if there's any way for us to tell this, but does that seem to be in the same hand as the original map? Is that an edit? Is that
It's like all the areas are kind of just scribbled in, whereas the mines itself are like drafted.
Right.
So like all the areas are notes.
Okay.
They're all written by the same hand, if that helps, but you can't really tell the age of the writing.
Well, I guess one of the things that I'm kind of curious about, you said there was a very, that path is very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
So is that intentional path part of the edits, the notes, or is that a part of the original, like, hey, here's the mine?
It's part of the original, hey, here's the mine.
Okay.
And I mean, if you look on the opposite side, the eastern path versus the western path, it's very similar to how the second floor is in terms of it goes east and west, and then there's more stuff going north and south. So it seems like it's just the way they started setting up the mine, and maybe perhaps very early on they found that hole.
Yeah.
Obviously, they probably had the first floor before the second floor, so that might have even been the first conflict with goblins.
Hmm.
Well,
Belzian also writes relevant information into his journal and makes some shorthand copies of maps with his parchment and paper. Wait, parchment and pen.
Zippo, while they're copying the map, Zippo's going to study the book about the chemicals. Is there a spot in the book about the chemicals that labels which one is which color chemical? Like color coded?
Yes. So the niter is the sweet-smelling white powder. The yellow powder is the sulfur, which is rotten-smelling. The barrel of black bits, that's odorless, as you know, is charcoal. The barrel of red powder is cinnabar, which is the red and metallic smelling one. And the white, strong smelling one is smelling salts.
so I'm sorry, can you repeat those?
Sure. White ammonia smelling is smelling salts. Barrel of red metallic smelling is cinnabar, cinnabar. Sweet smelling white powder is niter, niter, or re depending on what region you're from. Sulfur is the rotten egg smelling yellow powder, and charcoal is charcoal.
Cinnabar. Oh, I'm glad I didn't taste test that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Zippo's very excited. And once we finish the long rest, I am planning on putting as many of these barrels as I can into my my ring.
I
so that
guess
I
this
can
is a good
use it
time to
later.
mention you're in a room that can lock from the inside. You have the key. You're injured, and you have two different directions you could possibly go. Would you like to take a long rest here?
I would encourage that personally.
How long is the long rest?
It's 8 hours.
8 hours? Okay. Yeah, we've got food, right? We're all well fed.
I would
We
say
have-
by now you guys have been here for maybe 4 hours, but you've also had 4 or 5 battles with goblins, depending on how many you count as actual battles, maybe less.
Skirmishes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would also just go ahead and say that yeah, we're down here and we can lock the door, but is there anything keeping us from just going back upstairs? I guess no. That's still a fair question. Is there anything keeping us from going upstairs to the inn, having a nice night's sleep of food and things like that?
You don't wanna
Letting
sleep
them
the
know,
vault?
hey, we've cleared out the first 2 levels for now. I mean, ultimately, we're going to be facing the issue of if we rest, they could always sneak back into the area anyway.
Yeah, but they don't have any real way to get into this room if we rest here.
Right, but I guess they also don't have any real reason to go up to the inn that we have rented rooms at.
I guess my fear, says Jordan, is that maybe what they were trying to accomplish when we got here, they might be able to while we're gone. part of us being here means that we are safeguarding what we've kept safe so far.
Right, I guess if we're gonna do that though, we really have to take shifts of watchers and things like that. It's kind of what I'm driving at. So we can't all just go to sleep here. We're gonna have to do shifts of rest and watch.
More importantly, we can't all sleep in a locked room away from the elevator. Because the goblins have explosives.
Yeah, there's that. But so I mean, it comes down to again, if we're gonna stay down here and rest, let's just make sure that we're taking watch shifts and yeah.
Resting does sound appropriate after the amount of goblin bloodshed.
All right, so I think that's where we're gonna leave off for tonight. Then is you guys planning how you're gonna rest for the night, or if you can call it a night down here in the underground. And we'll pick up again in 2 weeks, which will be, I guess, the end of June. I think the 29th.
Yep.
Everybody's good with that, correct?
Yeah. Do you want us to hit the long rest button now, or do you want us to wait until we go through?
Let's wait. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because we're going to be going through it anyway, so it doesn't hurt to just wait.
Okay.
And I'll want to make sure everybody's hit it. So, for example, Yarvik's not here, so.
Right.
Does anybody have any final questions about anything in this room, or things that they want to talk about before we end, or are we good?
I am still slightly concerned about resting down here. I think if we're concerned that the goblins are going to blow up more of the mine, the best target for them to blow up is the elevator,
Right.
which would both prevent us from leaving and prevent more adventurers from coming in.
But I mean, to counter that, it'll also prevent us from coming back in if we go back up topside.
Yes, but we'll be outside in that circumstance.
Well, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying if we're down here and we're all just taking shifts of watching and resting and watching and resting, we can fend them off. I mean, we can rest in. We've got 6 of us, so we can rest in shifts of 4 and 2. It's 2 people on watch and the rest asleep, and just kind of swap it out.
I like that
I feel
idea. And
2 people ought to be able to take down a few goblins and wake us up.
I suppose.
another thing is,
In that case, though, I don't know.
I was just
What
going
is
to
it? In that
All right. Flip a coin.
You go ahead.
in that case, we should. I vote we sleep near the elevator and not in the vault.
The vault is so cozy.
Yeah, but I'm really, if we are concerned about the goblins doing things up here while we're out, we should be even more concerned about them doing things up here while we're here and trapping us in this vault.
I suppose there is only a finite amount of breathable air in this vault as well.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm fine with cuddling up against the elevator. I wouldn't recommend sleeping inside of it. That seems like tomfoolery, but
Or we could go back to town, which
Which again, if they do come out here and wreck shit, we're just gonna have to go through it all again, or we can't get down because they blow the elevator up.
But again, I would rather not be able to go down because they blew the elevator up than not be able to get up because they blew the elevator up.
Oh, but Roger, I'm telling you, if two of us are awake and keeping an eye on things, they're not gonna just be able to throw. It's not like they can. If they wanted to blow the elevator up, they would have already fucking done it. And they had a week to do it before we got here.
That's fair. Why would the goblins not want to destroy the elevator?
I mean, these are all questions I really want to ask. What the hell was his name? Yeah, their leader.
Yes. The question is, why indeed? And I'll leave it at that for tonight.
Alright.
Perfect.
Out of character question. If we can't open that chest, how much do you think the brothers would be willing to pay if we brought it back to them? If it's that important that they have 3 different keys for it? Because I'll put that in my ring too. I'll put it in the ring.
Good question.
Putting it in the ring is a good choice, though.
I'll put it next to there, and if we ask them like, oh, we might have seen this, how much would you pay us to get it back for you? And they don't give us what we consider a good enough amount, we can always just take it with us, bust it up and down the road. It took everything in me not to just scream shatter at it whenever we were in there. And then I measured it, and we were all in the radius of shatter, so I was like, yeah, I better not. I'll kill somebody.
Thanks.
And what would shatter do to 4 barrels of gunpowder?
It would blow them up.
Let's try it on the way out.
Anyway,
Gunpowder is not that volatile.
Yeah, maybe. Depends on how old it is. Anyway, everyone who's been watching, thank you for being here. We'll see you in 2 weeks here on the channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's June 29th. Thanks everybody for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
Good
Bye,
night.
everyone.
Good night, chat.
Thanks for playing.
We love you.